Tinubu government pays NYSC Corp members 33,000 naira for September, not 77,000, despite approved increase. I mean, when have we had this conversation about increasing the pay? And with the whole fuel thing with Dangote and, the country promising this with oil. I mean, it's such a badly managed economy that it's a case of if they wanted to, they would, but they won't. So where do we stand? Because I don't understand and you have to understand that the naira is devaluing. So your purchasing power. So I'm sure that obviously 33k from 5 years ago is not 33k of what it is now and what it can get you. So technically, they are paying them even less than 33,000 naira if we're going to compare the strength of the naira, your purchasing power as a citizen of Nigeria, and what you can live and afford on. So it's very interesting. I mean, I don't understand it. Well, the Nigerian government led by President Tinubu has surprisingly paid the NYSC members their old monthly allowance of 33,000 naira. I mean, to be fair, surprisingly is a bit of a stretch. The development has left many COP members disappointed, not surprising, and observed by Sahara reporters through telephone conversations with serving members. It's worth noting that the federal government had approved the increase. So what does that show? If the government had approved something and they chose not to do it, I mean, it's not the first time we know that this country is unreliable, but I think it just goes to show the weakening or the proven weakened constitution and weakened law enforcers that we have, because it's just a country of impunity. You can do anything, you can get away with it. What is right is wrong. Everything is twisted, and everything is so twisted that, I mean, imagine expecting 77,000 naira and you get 33,000 naira. And as I've said, they're actually getting probably around, let's say, even 25,000 naira. That's really what that 33,000 naira is worth. Probably even less. So what is now the point of working when you're earning less than ever? The number hasn't changed, but the value has definitely changed. We can all agree to that. And I think this is, how do I say it, the mental, is it retardation? Like, the country twists your brain. And this is why Nigerians, in all honesty, they say Nigerians need therapy. We definitely do, because the mental mind games of just trying to survive in the country. Something has been approved. And, we're talking about people's livelihoods. And these are people that are meant to be serving the country. How would they serve the country right? How would they serve the country well? On an empty stomach? In an expensive, inflated is such an understatement. An inflated economy. Like, how do you expect people to survive? So when you see people fighting on the road with the growing frustration or high blood pressure, and I'm sure that people have families, or not even families, I guess, but technically, extended people to take care of even trying to take care of themselves. In a day, just spending your day around Lagos or trying to get from one point to another, I mean, you could probably spend at least no less than 5,000 naira for a day. So if you're spending 5,000 naira a day to go to work and come back, and I'm trying to be very, frugal here, that's 30k gone. That's 6 days. That's 1 week of working. And what do you have left? And you have to have food. You need to at least save for your rent. I mean, what kind of country is this? So it's not surprising that we're in this position, but I think it just shows how mentally messed up, the government is, and how mentally messed up Nigerians are becoming, because this is crazy. This is crazy. So the delay in implementing the new allowance has obviously raised concerns among some COP members who were actually expecting the increased payment in September. So it's such a shame, because this monthly allowance was meant to be in effect from July 2024, and it's September. You can't put your hope on the Nigerian government. They will step on it, they will squeeze it, they will fry it. and they will give your heart to the dogs to eat. That is how bad it is. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy. And you have nothing but shame, and and you know what? All this thing on the youth, they're not this, the youth are spoiling Nigeria, Gen Z. Everybody should calm down and honestly collect sense, because this is why the youth are jobless. This is why the youth do not feel, why do I need to go to school? Why do I need to learn? Why would my hard work yield to anything? And it's the youth that we call the future leaders of tomorrow. I mean, it is totally messed up. You compare the youths of other countries that are allowed, that are literally given loans to study to the highest form, and then you work it back into the economy by their productivity anyways. You have other youths and other young talents in the world that their governments are pushing for them to break barriers when it comes to innovation, technology, advancing, how their countries run. And then you look at the youth of the Nigerian nation and you're like, wow, how do they feel? And then you want to complain and say that, oh, but they're spending their time watching BB Nigeria and da da da. Look at the environment that they have to grow up in. Look at the environment that teaches them values. Excuse me, relax. This is not a conversation about your family should raise you right. So then as a society, there's no responsibility in society. As a society, we're just there. So I think, it's a very big problem. And so when, this is very perfect. Breeding ground for criminals, breeding ground for joblessness, unemployment. And that's so much problem. And I'm sure that, these politicians have done the analysis. They know what it is. They know the effect of what they're doing, but they choose not to. And this is why I say it mentally messes with the mind of a young Nigerian, and it can literally alter the way young Nigerians perceive and interact with the world. Because at the end of the day, it's not just where you are. Like, you should, and as a country, we should aspire to be global giants, to have a voice and matter on a global scale. But then look at the problems we're dealing with and the future minds of tomorrow. Like, do you understand how you're setting up your youth for failure, to compete with the future minds of other countries that are being sponsored to study, that are being sponsored to, break barriers? Like, it is crazy. So Nigeria just becomes a shamble, a mess, especially looking into our future and what it's looking like, because we've been degrading from 1960. It has not been an upward trend. It has been a very strong, steep downward trend. So yeah, put what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.